performed tonight by a Franklin native who was diagnosed with breast cancer 15 months ago and sought treatment at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. She has now been cancer-free for almost 1 year. Please welcome Jennifer Teft.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, as we bring awareness to the Hockey Fights Cancer Initiative this evening, we would like to welcome two very special close friends of the Bruins. Maddie is a 10-year-old native of Topsfield that was diagnosed with stage 4 undifferentiated sarcoma. After receiving treatment at Mass General Hospital, her cancer is now in remission. And Will is a 10-year-old from Braintree who was diagnosed with stage 4 neuroblastoma as an infant. After 111 rounds of treatment spanning more than 8 years, he stopped needing therapy in January of last year. Please join us in welcoming Madison Santosuaso and Will Lacey. Will a representative from both teams please come forward for tonight's ceremonial puck drop? Thank you, Madison and Will. Your strength is an inspiration to all of us.
And even made more poignant that Mikko Koivu was out there representing Minnesota. Of course, his brother Saku beat cancer during his playing career. Starting Goalies brought to you by your New England Audi dealers. Experience the new Audi A3 with legendary Audi Quattro all-wheel drive today. Nicklas Backstrom has been unbelievable against the Bruins in his career. .969 save percentage and a couple of shutouts, a sub-1 goals against average. Rade Tukaraska's chopped liver against Minnesota. 2-1-1 with a 169 goals against average and a .942 save percentage. The Wild is a team with great defensive structure, and what the heck happened last night in New York? 5 goals the Rangers scored to come from 3 down to win 5-4. The game is on. Rick, Minnesota didn't even have a morning skate. Long time to think about a disappointing game for them.
Yeah, well, that was to be expected given the way things went last night. Pretty physical game and a lot of stress and energy expended in that third period. Great comeback by the Rangers, but even the best of the defensive disciplined teams will give up opportunities and goals if you play the right way, and that's what the Bruins are looking to do, especially early in the hockey game. Try to put Minnesota down and keep that memory of last night fresh in their minds.
Jason Zucker gets the leverage on Adam McQuaid, knocking McQuaid off balance. Nate Prosser can't ram it through. Puck pops up to Torrey Krug, wiggles along his own blue line, takes the space diagonally and tries to get a clean change. Marco Scandella off to a terrific start. And here's Zach Parise. Back pressure from Bergeron. Breaks down his scoring bid. Scandella keeps it in at the line. Has to fight it through Riley Smith. Dougie Hamilton on the end boards against Parise. Riley Smith chips forward. Brad Marchand skating against Prosser. Marchand goes into the end boards. Prosser meets with Bergeron's check. Seidenberg fires it on goal. Baxter with a save. Right next to the goal, Marchand prying it loose. It's in! No, they waved it off, but I could have sworn I saw a little space between the puck and the line. Obviously, they're looking at it already in Toronto. And now we get a stoppage. Billy, what are the players saying?
Well, they want to have a look at it as well. Everybody's looking up and wanting to see if it went in. The official was right there behind the net, Jack. So I obviously had a good look at it. Take a look at it from the overhead here, and you guys will see what I see. This one trickles up the right shoulder, and how does it? No, it does not go across from up here or from here or from up there. It doesn't go across.
Well, the referee perfectly positioned. He tries to get to the back of the net to get the best possible view. Backstrom can't handle the puck short side. It was a heads-up play on the shot from the point by Seidenberg. Marchand tries to sneak it short side. Good support. Riley Smith right there. He too tries to sneak it. The minute that goaltender kind of gets into that butterfly short side, there's going to be room up high on the blocker side. That's where the puck ended up. But Minnesota doesn't have to keep that puck from going across the line.
And I did see white between the puck and the line. It was when the puck bounced straight up on the line and out. And again, they get it right. Seth Griffith into the corner. Jared Spurgeon on the check, and he swings it out to Nino Niederreiter. Laterally for Ryan Suter. Into the middle. And now Adam McQuaid backhands around to his defensive pair, Matt Bartkowski. David Krejci. McQuaid one-hands it loose at the Boston line. Thomas Vanek has gotten shifted around. Hasn't gotten untracked yet. Vanek still looking for his first goal as a member of the Minnesota Wild. Easy stop for Rask on Niederreiter's long shot. Griffith goes forehand, backhand. Krejci cross corner for Lucic against Matt Dumba. Lucic to Seidenberg. He whistles it wide on the glove side. Zach Trotman's wrist shot gets up and sails into the protective netting. Pretty good view you got down there, Billy.
It's a great view I have down here. I'm just next to the Minnesota Wild bench. Jack, you mentioned their tough game in New York last night. They had some injuries that game. There was some question whether Zach Parise would play or not. Well, he has 10 stitches in that facial area. He may have to get it actually redone, they were telling me, because of some mistakes that were made, but he's playing. Suter is also, he's playing in this line. He's going to play even more because Jonas Brodin, his partner in arm, is not playing due to the injury he took when he got hit from behind in last night's game. A banged up team, but they say they're ready for this one.
Yeah, Chris Kreider knocking into him. Now here's Justin Faulk, drive and a save by Rask. Justin Fontaine getting off a blast. Cook's pass doesn't connect, goes past Faulk, is going to the Minnesota bench. That Dumba up for Fontaine. Quick, Minnesota has a way of taking the air out of games sometimes. The Wild allowing the fewest shots on goal of any team in the NHL, and they've allowed just 2 goals to be scored against them in first periods so far this season.
Yeah, well, you used the word structure right at the top of the broadcast, and that's exactly really the foundation of what this team's all about. It requires discipline, decision-making. I don't think they have a power play goal this year, do they? No, but they have 3 shutout wins to go along with their 4-3 record. So they got to, if they're not going to score a lot of goals, then they better not give up many.
Well, this is the team that laid out a couple of $100 million in commitments to secure the services of Parise and Suter a couple of summers ago. And they have drafted well. They have found the pieces to fit. And they are highly competitive in the very difficult Central Division. Kyle Granlund flings it in on Rask, and he'll take another face-off. Well, the studs are the studs, and Minnesota's best players almost always are their best players.
Well, a clear message to their fan base in Minnesota that so badly wanted hockey back, National Hockey League hockey back in their state. And then they got it, and they've reestablished themselves as a highly competitive team, but they needed to really send a message to say, you know, we're in it to win this thing, and they bring in a couple of guys, and they paid a whole lot of money for Parise and Suter.
Suter leading the league in average time on ice. Here's Jason Pominville, the ex-Sabre, to Parise. Granlund's shot, double deflection on the way through. Pominville lets it run. Marchand taking the hit. Here's Suter going diagonally. The pass does not connect with Parise. Granlund's pass on to Bergeron's forehand, but he turns it over to Granlund in the corner in front of the Zamboni door. Parise coming through Seidenberg's stick. Suter rolls it around the curve. Now Marchand can't get to it in time. Granlund works it back down. Hamilton presenting the option for Pominville. Take the hit or yield the puck. And Hamilton got the puck. Riley Smith working the off wing against Ryan Suter. Shifts on him, goes right to the post. Jams, it's loose. The puck up the slot. Lucic knocks it down. Trotman's wrist shot into the skates of Kyle Brodziak. Nino Niederreiter. Quick hands to get around Lucic.
What a nice little stop and go move by Riley Smith against Suter on the outside.
Niederreiter scores! Gunning home Brodziak's centering pass. Or rather, it's Vanek's centering pass, pardon me, but Niederreiter gets Minnesota on top.
Well, just before the Riley Smith chance on the one-on-one move to go around Suter, the Wild had good puck possession in the offensive zone. The Bruins kept things to the perimeter, but they were getting beat to loose pucks. They weren't winning enough battles. They weren't managing the puck all that well to try to come out of their own zone with a little crispness and speed. And now here they are late on coverage after the turnover below the goal line. And Niederreiter finds an open seam right in that high slot. Things happen quickly at this level. You can see Trotman on that replay try to get back to the front of the net, but there were a number of breakdowns. Frykowski couldn't handle the puck in the corner. All of a sudden, Vanek's going to zip that to the slot. One-timer by Niederreiter.
Campbell to Gagne. Campbell jams. It slides across the crease and out. Justin Fontaine. Paille picks it off his stick. Campbell, the backhand flip. Paille sizzles it around the corner to Hamilton. Seidenberg in deep. Paille gives to Gagne. Draws Fontaine. Now Hamilton's drive off Prosser, and Prosser's down on one knee after the block on Hamilton. The Bruins answering with more than half a minute in the attacking zone. Paille wheels it right across the slot. Seidenberg tries to shift past Ryan Carter, who holds him off. And the Wild will take a change. Well, Minnesota can keep the shot totals down, but not tonight. 5 shots apiece in the first 6 minutes of the game. Dumba center circle, gives it away to Eriksson. Eriksson slips it forward to Kelly. The shot saved by Backstrom. Nino Niederreiter picks up where he left off last year. And the Minnesota Wild has the lead. Twisted but true fact of the game, Nino Niederreiter spent his first couple of NHL seasons with the Islanders. 2 goals, 1 assist, 64 games. Maybe he wasn't playing in the right role. Since being traded to the Wild in 2013, 16 goals, 24 assists in 89 games, including tonight's opening score. Twisted Tea, hard iced tea, the refreshing hard iced tea that tastes like real iced tea. Be a little twisted. Soderberg wins the faceoff from Koivu. Krug to McQuaid. Soderberg turns and fires it into Koivu's skate. He chips off glass looking for Zucker up ahead, and the play's ruled offside.
Guys, during that last commercial break, Matt Dumba, the young defenseman, first-round pick for the Minnesota Wild a couple years back, was being lectured the whole time, more taught than anything, by head coach Mike Yeo, a former defenseman from his minor league days, because of that pass he made. Want him to be patient, want him to read the play. He was motioning right there. It's like, settle down right there. He bought in, or he didn't buy in, and Kip Kelly intercepted that and led to that good opportunity.
Krug behind the net, past McQuaid. Scandella through the corner. Charlie Coyle from Weymouth can't hang on to it. Kelly fires hard off the wall to get it to center, but Minnesota takes possession right back. Scandella waits for Pominville, and now Gronlund, the center of this line. Parise jumps over the board. Marchand on the steal, 3-on-2 up ice, but he can't backhand it middle as Scandella atones. Seidenberg intentionally wide. It bounces over the apron right to Marchand, but he can't knock it between the posts. Bergeron to Marchand, wheels off the corner. Hamilton's drive up into the glove of Parise, and that stung. Hamilton's wrist shot saved by Backstrom on a high rebound.
Everybody lost sight of the puck, I believe, Jack, and ended up out by Dennis Seidenberg, and I think that's why the whistle blew, unless they're calling penalties.
Yeah, well, it was arcing. You could see it arcing sort of toward the Minnesota bench, and then all this activity in front, guys just decided to hit each other.
Quick snapshot, good lateral move. Dougie Hamilton is going to deflect off Riley Smith. It's up in the air, out by Dennis Seidenberg right now, and nobody knows where this puck is. And then the whistle goes. I think this faceoff should stay in the offensive zone for Boston.
The puck never left the offensive zone. It would be hard to make a rational argument as to why it shouldn't.
3 or 4 blocks for Minnesota. The Bruins have fed the points, and they've gotten some quick releases, but a number of blocks by Minnesota early in this hockey game.
Hamilton tosses it toward the slot, pops up. Krejci 1 against 3, kicks to Griffith in the corner. Brodziak on the hit. Quick out from Spurgeon, getting it up high. Hamilton knocks it to the wall. Spurgeon to Vanek. Vanek feeds it into Brodziak's skates. He sizzles it across the goal mouth. Suter wrists it down through the corner off Niederreiter's backhand. Past Brodziak. Vanek A-frames against Krejci, who just dances around him and takes the puck away. Lucic tries to slip it through. Cannot do it. A quick shot from Niederreiter, and Rask denies him this time.
Catch an all-new episode of Behind the B, presented by Alex and Ani, tomorrow night at 8, right here on NESN. To view outtakes or catch up on previous episodes, visit bostonbruins.com/behindtheb.
Koivu, Zucker, and Coyle with Dumba, who just got the talking to, and Justin Falk, who was just activated to the Wild roster today. Zucker on the rush. Coyle wheels it right on Rask. Tony Krug to Adam McQuaid. Kelly from the red line throws it in deep. Backstrom after it. Wrists it around through the corner. Coyle had trouble with McQuaid's opposition from behind. This one comes up high. I think it hit the referee up in the face. Charlie Coyle trying to pivot against McQuaid. Rask scoops the tumbling puck up off the ice, and the faceoff will be in the Boston zone.
Yeah, the Bruins looking to get a little sharper on their breakouts, Jack, and what Minnesota will do to you, they'll stymie you on your breakouts with that discipline and the structure. Again, with third time we've used that word here, we're only about 9 minutes into this hockey game, but that's what they do. And I think the one breakout that might be there consistently is when that puck goes from defenseman to the strong side wing. The weak side defenseman on the opposite side of the ice, or the opposite third anyway, has been open most of this period. So Bruins will look to get a little cleaner, come out of their own zone, come a little bit deeper in their own end in order to generate a little bit more speed against this Minnesota 1-2-2.
A little extra decoration on the face of referee Dave Lewis. He goes down the tunnel for repairs. That's not going to stop with a Band-Aid. Rask has to make a save on a squirting puck off the face-off. Riley Smith short pass through Bergeron. Bergeron gloves it down, chases on with Marchand going middle, and Backstrom covers up to take the face-off in the Minnesota end. Kind of a wacky sequence at both ends of the ice.
Not a lot of flow, guys, as you're talking about there. Brick, is this probably a result of Minnesota coming up that physical game that they lost in the third period? They're a team that has been known to be defensively sound. Jack talked about it as well. But in this one, they really seem to be passive as soon as they lose the puck, maybe conserving some energy and being smarter in the neutral zone.
No question about it. They want to be even or better after the first 20 minutes, given the way the third period went against the Rangers last night. And for the most part, they're doing a pretty good job. The Bruins have had a number of good looks, though. They haven't been as tight in their defensive zone as they'd like to be. You know, Boston with 7 shots, but probably 3 or 4 quality scoring chances in and around the net.
Well, the Wild hasn't had to chase too many games this year. It's allowed just 2 first-period goals. Zach Trotman in the corner. Ryan Carter coming over to help out Justin Fontaine. Scandella's shot. Rask in good position to make the save because it hit something on the way through, changed direction, and then went out of play off Rask's stick.
And there's no making up for the skating game, Jack. You know, the Bruins are getting beat to the pucks right now a little too often. One thing they did very well in Toronto the other night was they got to the loose pucks. They won the one-on-one battles. And here in the early going in this first period, it's Minnesota that's getting to the loose pucks, and they're protecting it a little bit deeper.
Parisi's drive into Smith's legs. Suter fires it in, and the puck had crossed into the neutral zone. It's offside. Ryan Suter with the little shake of the head, hoping that the linesman would see him, as if to say, I was right on top of the puck and that didn't cross. Seidenberg goes north and south. Marchand bounces it down through the corner. Backstrom stopping the puck for Suter, and Smith's on him again. Parisi laterally. Jared Spurgeon, an excellent skater, to Pominville for Granlund, the shot, and off the skate blade of Rask. A pretty important save for the Boston goalkeeper to keep Minnesota from going up 2. Suter fires to the seam to Pominville. Pominville's shot saved by Rask. Seidenberg on the tight radius turn, but he goes right into Pominville's check. Granlund to Parisi trying to back up. And rides the dash. Falk to Parisi. Seidenberg tries to staple him in. Pominville centering pass beyond Falk's reach. And back to center. But a lot of possession for Minnesota in the first period. Lucic banging Falk, and the crowd comes to life. Pretty quiet in the early going here. And the Bruins haven't given them too much to cheer about. Minnesota with the last 5 shots on goal in this game. Torrey Krug on the rush. Milan Lucic pulls up on the right wing. McQuaid's drive goes off Niederreiter's leg. That's another block from Minnesota. Krejci holding his edge at the corner. Lucic can't pick the glove side corner high. Krug fires it off the apron of the goal. McQuaid and Niederreiter jamming. The Bruins starting to throw the body around and getting some energy out of their work.
Yeah, 2 hits by Lucic on this shift alone. He can sense that he needs to start doing something in order to get a little bit more life in this building, life in this team. One was in the neutral zone. Falk made this play, try to jump across the red line and keep the play up ice. This is the second hit on the same shift, same recipient. Falk has to try to make a play along the wall. Good angle by Lucic, kept the elbow tucked.
Dumba swats it to the line, but Hamilton flings it back to the corner. Falk one-hands it forward. Niederreiter chips the backhand out. Seidenberg up the left side. Kelly redirects behind Nicholas Backstrom. Prosser off a skate. Zucker can't turn the puck with him. And Soderberg takes it back for Boston. So after some extended possession for Minnesota, the Bruins have had most of the puck for the last couple of minutes. Krug turning away from Zucker's pressure. Kelly off Hamilton's skate. Juicy stuff for Koivu, but he misfires on the pass for Coyle. A long drive from Prosser at the point, and Rask sees it through a screen. Rask has had to make some tricky saves. Not necessarily acrobatic, but some important stops with short moves by his legs. Nate Prosser beating Fontaine. He gets around Gagne's stick check. Rask scrapes it through the corner. Bartkowski off a couple of skates. No icing here. Pye's going to win the race anyway. Pye the self-pass, but he loses track of the puck. Falk pokes it over to Dumba. Gagne into the middle. Falk catches it nicely on his forehand. Skates it out of danger. Lifts it for Fontaine. Fontaine past Bartkowski. Campbell on the diagonal back. Campbell up the boards for Pyatt. Zach Trotman to Matt Bartkowski. DDD to Trotman. He goes up the middle for Campbell. Pyatt bangs it off the boards. It hits linesman Michel Cormier. As we continue with just 3 on-ice officials, Dave Lewis having gone to get repairs after taking a puck between the lower lip and the chin. Smith to Bergeron. He fires it off of Spurgeon. Pominville lays it into space for Parisi. Hamilton puts the body on him. Marchand with the back pressure taking the puck. Wing to wing. Smith to Bergeron with Marchand the trailer. Marchand picks it up with the backhand. Tries to fire it. It hits a stanchion. Crazy bounce. Marchand's backhand deflects across the goal mouth. Hamilton wrists it off of Parisi's stick. Parisi swipes it to center.
Well, the Bruins able to put 2 passes back to back, and they spread the ice and they execute well. Now you got a little speed through center ice. They attacked on one side, was effective. They attacked on a second side, also effective.
3-on-2 up ice. Brodziak with the shift on McQuaid. Goes far side, snaps it back to Prosser intentionally wide. Rask paddles it to the end boards. Krug wraps it around. But Vanek finds it. It bounces off glass and into the protective netting. 5:40 to go, first period. Minnesota out shooting the Bruins 11-8 and up 1-0 on Nino Niederreiter's goal.
Bruins trailing the Wild 1-0. They're trying to push for the tying goal, but the problem is now they have 3 forwards all caught in deep, and that's allowing the Minnesota Wild to come with speed on the attack. They get a real good scoring chance as a result. 3-on-2, numbers coming through center ice. Pretty good effort for the Bruins forwards to try to get back, but there's enough of a seam where Rask has to come up with a pretty good blocker and right pad save on the transition chance by Minnesota.
Nate Prosser's wrist shot hitting Niederreiter's stick. Niederreiter has 3 shots on goal to lead all players so far. Brodziak with the steal, flings it to the end board. Niederreiter runs himself into the wall as McQuaid was nearby, but not administering too much physical presence there. Niederreiter fires it off a couple of legs. It bounces to Lucic. Krejci takes the space, working Prosser's side. Passes behind his back, and the play blows up offside.
You know, we showed you that replay, when the Bruins were caught a little deep, and when you think about the goal that the Bruins gave up, in defense of the Bergeron line, you think that Riley Smith's making the steal on Suter. So now you're thinking offense. So you get in tight, close support, you got speed going, you think you're going to have possession, you want to get into cycle mode. That's why they're in there below the goal line. It works against them in that case. But think about the goal. Bartkowski just kind of fumbles the puck on the backhand, so you're thinking puck possession, breakout. You're not thinking, I got to play defense right away. And just that quickly, Niederreiter is open in the slot. Vanek makes the perfect pass. It happens so quickly. We showed you Trotman trying to get back. You see the weak side winger who's supposed to be in coverage if you don't have possession in that case. And this is Griffith, and he's a little late to get there, but it's all because you think you have possession on a breakout. Nothing happening. Bruins are in good shape. Minnesota's happy just to chip it in and go to that aggressive two-man forecheck. The second man takes the puck away from Vanek. All of a sudden, you can't get in coverage because you're thinking, I'm in position for a breakout. And it worked against Boston in that case. So, kind of an unforced turnover leads to the only goal of this period.
Eriksson gets a piece of Koivu's pass. Zucker wrestles with Hamilton. Seidenberg staples Coyle, and Seidenberg's going to go to the box for a holding.
Well, I'll give Minnesota a lot of credit here in the opening 20 minutes, Jack, for their effort.
44 Boston minor penalty holding.
They've done a pretty good job in the offensive zone on being on the right side of the puck, protecting it well. When they don't have a play, they kind of eat it along the wall. They live for another day, maybe use the point, chip it back down. It's been a pretty good effort for a road period, knowing that you played last night.
Power play stats are brought to you by Echo Store Technologies. The Minnesota Wild off to what is, for them, an unpleasantly historic start. It is the worst power play start to a season in franchise history, as they have gone their first 7 games without registering a power play goal. Buffalo this season has gone 9 straight. Detroit in 1987 did not score in its first 8 games on the power play. Pominville's rocket goes high off glass as the Bruins had a little trouble with the ice.
Yeah, McQuaid just looking to make a pivot just inside his own blue line. Ended up falling to the ice. That leads to a pretty good slap shot chance. It happened to Bartkowski on the opposite side of the ice earlier this period.
Granlund to Parise. Short angle shot, the rebound. Bartkowski fires it to the corner. Parise. Vanek curls off the half boards. Granlund to Suter. He's got Pominville on the near side. Granlund, Suter's wrist shot. Parise with the tip up and out of play, but the faceoff stays in the attacking zone this season.
Well, right off the faceoff to start this power play, the puck went along the boards on the right side. McQuaid was going to go over, just trying to protect it and chip it to Marchand. He got a little stick for his troubles. And he stayed bent over, making his way up out of the zone. Get a look at it, ice level. Oh, stick underneath the legs by Vanek. No call. Bruins able to clear their own zone, and McQuaid stayed out on the ice. He was a little bent over for the shift, and then he lost his balance on the pivot, and that led to the Pominville slap shot over the crossbar.
Koivu scrapes it right past Suter. A little past halfway in the power play for the Minnesota Wild. 0 for 24 on the season. Jared Spurgeon in deep. Charlie Coyle can't hold the edge against Trotman. Eriksson unable to clear Suter along the line. Spurgeon flattens the puck with Niederreiter high slot, and Coyle set up down on the goal line. Now Koivu comes across the slot to the near boards, and Koivu takes the short saucer pass. Spurgeon cocks, passes off. The captain Koivu backing into the corner, missed stick handles. Bartkowski can't find it in his skates. Suter throws it middle. Bartkowski steals and whacks the bouncer through space.
Good recovery by Bartkowski. Just when you thought the Bruins may be able to wrestle this puck away from Minnesota and get it clear, they don't. But then Suter tries to make a pass, and Bartkowski's well positioned.
One shot on goal during the power play. Back to full strength. Krug to Hamilton, closing cross ice pass off Fontaine's stick. Smith hacks it back middle. Bergeron with the steal to keep the puck in the zone. Brodziak softly off the end board. Scandella holds off Smith. Smith stays with it. Marchand poaches the puck. Marchand coming off the half boards, throws it off Cook's skate. Fontaine. Now Brodziak, cross corner. The defenseman Scandella going all the way to the end boards. Krug backs into him. Scandella stays on his skates. A-frames for space. Marchand steals another one. Saucer pass goes past Hamilton. He picks it up on the carom. And the Bruins will change out. Krejci pursuing the puck as Backstrom wrists it around the glass. Lucic with a huge hit, knocking down for the second time in the first period. Trotman to Krejci with Lucic driving the net. Krejci, Griffith, he taps it in. Milan Lucic's neck drive opening up the seam. Seth Griffith in the eddy of the flow, and Krejci threads the needle with a gorgeous pass. It's 1-1.
We talked about Milan Lucic, his most recent shift, a couple of big body checks to try to get some life for this team. He's going to make another one here, again on Falk. That leads to the turnover on the breakout, and then the quick counterattack by Boston. What a great net drive. Milan Lucic down the middle of the ice, the playmaker, the architect David Krejci, good little saucer pass. Griffith going exactly where he should in that seam that's created behind the net drive of Lucic. And all he's got to do is one time a perfect pass inside that far post. To him, it's the near post. Far post for Krejci. Bruins tie it.
McQuaid is back. Suter snaps the pass onto Koivu's tape. Griffith knocks Koivu off balance. Krug.
Boston goal scorer.
McQuaid to Krejci, 3-on-2 up ice. Griffith on the right. Lucic driving the net again. Spurgeon tips it away as Lucic was crashing to the far post. Krug, clever step over, throws it right through the crease as Lucic has announced his physical presence. Minnesota has a lot of interesting attributes, but not a terribly large defensive core, and Lucic is lunching on the smaller defenseman for the most part. Krejci goes for a tumble over Zucker's stick, and Zucker's going to go for tripping in the final minute of the opening period. Seth Griffith nets his second on a gorgeous Krejci cross-ice pass. Zach Trotman picks up an assist as well.
Inside the Garden, the Bruins tied up on the Griffith goal. But guys, I want you to go back before Lucic gets in on the hit. Take a look at, like, top of your screen, middle left screen. Lucic comes on the ice, and right there, you see how he gets pulled a little bit? That was right in front of me. Matt Cook, shocker, tried hooking him just a little bit. It happens in this area right here. But Lucic, because he's got his legs going, guys, was able to get to that hit. He honed in on Falk. Jack, as you said, already the second hit on him, and he was skating that entire shift. It's pretty obvious. When Lucic is moving the feet, Lucic is a big difference maker.
The crowd comes to life. Bruins a slightly above average power play. 6 for 30. The league average per team is 5 for 29. Carl Soderberg, Patrice Bergeron, Louis Eriksson, Dougie Hamilton, and Riley Smith. And here's Smith skating onto the hash marks in the final half minute of the first period. Smith holds, trickles it to Hamilton. He quickly moves it along the line, slides it down to Eriksson. Bergeron in the high slot, Smith far side. Soderberg turns it toward goal. Bergeron jams. Still plenty of time as Eriksson digs it out of the corner. Finds Hamilton. He moves to draw Koivu. Smith's shot off Soderberg jamming. Soderberg's stick gets shattered. Eriksson stabs it loose against Scandella. Bergeron, final second of the period. Smith won't get it off in time. They'll go to the room tied 1-1, and Soderberg's looking down at his glove as if maybe that stick shattered because the stick came across his mitt.
I think it's pretty simple, Jack. The Bruins started to elevate their skating game, and Milan Lucic obviously had a lot to do with it. He started to skate. He started to take the body. Everybody started to follow suit. Pick it up, because they were getting beat in their own zone. Too many on first turnovers. Too many one-on-ones that they didn't win. Some lack of execution. And to come out of this period 1-1, I think that bodes well for Boston, thinking about periods 2 and 3.
Well, Dale, they didn't want to have to chase the game against Minnesota, and they're all even after 20 minutes. Boston Bruins Hockey on NESN is brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts, by Southern New Hampshire University. See yourself succeed at snhu.edu. And by TD Bank, America's most convenient bank. Alongside Andy Brickley, with Billy Jaffe between the benches, and Garrett Austin also at ice level, and our NESN production crew. I'm Jack Edwards. It is 1-1. The Bruins will begin the second period on the power play, as they'll have a minute and 10 seconds of man advantage to begin the middle stanza. The road ahead, brought to you by Sullivan Tire and Auto Service. Visit sullivantire.com/road ahead. And the Bruins will travel to Buffalo tomorrow. We'll have the game for you Thursday night at 7 o'clock game time. Preceded, of course, by Dale Arnold in the pregame show. Ottawa comes to town on the 1st of November. You see the little photo of Senior Associate Producer Patrick White there on the 31st.
On a good day.
Yeah, exactly. So this is this stretch of 7 home games out of 9 for the Bruins. And the importance of answering the Nito Niederreiter goal cannot be understated, because this Wild team has made its name by shutting down its opponents. Game summary brought to you by your New England Chevy dealers.
Claude Julien, Jack, talked this morning about Seth Griffith, and it's all about continuing to show progress, which will keep him in the lineup and keep him earning his minutes on that line with the David Krejci line. And made a couple of nice plays in that first period. And, of course, the tying goal late in the period should put the Bruins in a much better frame of mind here for the second period.
Billy Jaffe, why are we starting the second period with 3 on-ice officials?
And we will stay with that way, Jack, because Dave Lewis has a broken jaw. Will not return, that we are told. Yowza. Wow.
Bergeron on the power play. Hamilton's bomb knocked down in front. The rebound, Eriksson. Hamilton comes in for a second chance, and Backstrom clutches it against his body.
I like the aggressiveness here with the man advantage. If you can score on the attack, you don't have to pull up and get into your rhythm and your set plays. Try to score off the rush. Nice little return pass. The drive is knocked down by friendly fire. It was Louis Eriksson that got in the way of the drive by Dougie Hamilton, but then they went right back at Backstrom with 2 more shots.
Suter shoves it around to Matt Cook on the near side. He pries it all the way to center. Hamilton to the red line to Smith. The quick pass to Eriksson. Wires it into the zone. Bergeron hunting the puck. Lets it slide through to Soderberg. Soderberg draws Suter. Brings it back to Hamilton quickly across ice. Smith to the slot. Nobody home. And Suter risks it all the way to Rask.
Yeah, Bergeron lost an edge. I don't know what's going on in that section of the ice, but 3 Bruins have fallen.
Dougie Hamilton with a head of steam through the neutral zone, flying into the Minnesota end, chucks it past Suter. Spurgeon can't control the puck. Lucic in the other direction hits a glove. Hamilton doubling over.
Yeah, he got chopped by Suter when he had that little chip down the wall going wide on Suter. Suter, a little 2-hand. The glove came off, and that hurt.
And the high glove, too. Griffith to Lucic. Zucker with a good stick check, preventing Lucic ever from following through. 3 shots during the power play, which just has come to an end. Zucker and Krug on the end boards. Krug pushes him off the puck, and Krejci accelerates out of the Boston zone. Over the spoke B. Seth Griffith. The pass comes off of Scandella. Krug cruises down. Tight radius turn, and he keeps his edge. Sends it past Griffith. Scandella. Kelly with the hit, and the puck pops up. It's a can of corn for Nicklas Backstrom. Let's go back and look at Dougie Hamilton.
Well, Hamilton's taking this puck through the neutral zone, comes across the blue line. Just a 2-handed chop right there by Suter. Gets him in a spot that's probably got very little protection in that glove. Back on the ice, though.
Long way from the heart. Granlund and Campbell wrestle after the drop. And I believe that linesman Michel Cormier has signaled that Boston had an impropriety, so Gagne will take it. Granlund wins it straight back. Prosser to Pominville. Lofts a one-hopper for Parise on Hamilton's side. Hamilton plays the body all the way, pins the puck to the wall, and makes the backhand flip to Gregory Campbell. He lobs a spinner. Paille exploding into the corner. Draws Prosser, who angles him off nicely. Prosser straight ahead to Granlund, coming back below the tops of the circles. Parise waiting for Scandella. Here's Pominville, the shot saved by Rask, getting square to the shot, taking it right off the spoke B on his chest. Michael Granlund gives it back to the point. Dumba over to Scandella. Scandella's wrist shot. Hamilton with the block. Gives it away to Dumba. The drive tipped by Granlund. It goes up and out of play.
Don't miss any of the hard-hitting action and excitement of the 2014-15 Bruins season, presented by the Massachusetts State Lottery. Tickets and suite rentals are available now for this season's must-see matchups, including Saturday's game against the Senators. To purchase tickets or rent a suite, visit bostonbruins.com or use the Bruins mobile app.
Koivu, Coyle, and Vanek. As Thomas Vanek keeps getting moved around. Mike Yeo trying to get him on track. Louis Eriksson feathers it for Soderberg. Saved by Backstrom. He had no idea where it was, but it was under his fanny. What hands.
Minnesota's going to invite Boston in their own zone. It sure looked like Falk could have closed a lot sooner and a lot quicker and a lot more aggressively on Louis Eriksson. The back check pressure seemed to be there, but he finds that seam, the little pull-up. That's a heads-up play by Louis Eriksson. If you're going to give me this spot on the offensive zone, I'm going to take it, and I'm just going to kill a little bit of time and allow Soderberg to have that net drive off that far post.
Carl Soderberg trying to keep the hot hand toasty. 3 goals in his last 5 games. Eriksson stutter step against Scandella. Shows backhand, comes forehand. McQuaid wraps it around. Kelly turns it back the other way. Niederreiter. Eriksson seals him off. McQuaid's driving a save by Backstrom. The Bruins setting up and getting some zone time. Scandella ahead for Niederreiter. Good work from behind. That hits the side of the goal as Brodziak fires it glove side on Rask. Torrey Krug with a little space through the seam. Kelly redirects it. Pominville, the tap back. Suter has to turn the stick. Bounces down in his skates. Bergeron on him with Smith, but Granlund settles things down for Minnesota. Suter having trouble from Bergeron, who's dogging him all over the ice. Granlund creates a little space for Pominville. He weaves it to Spurgeon. Spurgeon to Pominville. The shot, the rebound, Pominville, and another save by Rask.
Second big stop this period by Rask.
Suter flies it into the zone. Seidenberg. Indirect for Smith. Smith works Spurgeon. He's got Krejci middle of the pass just behind him. Hamilton fires it low past Marchand. Smith coming out of the corner. Pass. Suter's stick check. Swivels it. Seidenberg had to make a decision. He elected to keep possession in the neutral zone.
Now Smith wanted Seidenberg to come to his right. That's where the passing lane was, but Seidenberg felt he was in coverage and just tried to drift out of the way to open up more ice.
Spurgeon to Suter. Long diagonal does not connect, and no icing is ruled as Zucker gets to the puck. Bartkowski trying to extract himself from Koivu's reach. Coyle nudges it to the far side. Griffith's blind pass, a little offline for Lucic. Lucic finishes his check on Proctor. Trotman chops it ahead for Griffith. Griffith can't get it past Koivu. He wheels it back in behind Rask. Minnesota in the middle of a chain. Trotman the long diagonal out of the zone. Lucic indirect for Campbell. He's got Griffith middle. Griffith scores! Gregory Campbell drawing the D. Seth Griffith totally committed. It was a goal where he was going to go headlong into the post, and it's in the back of the net. 2-1 Boston.
Oh, so much to like about this goal. The indirect pass through the neutral zone to get behind the Minnesota defense. I mean, this is high-quality stuff. Backhand indirect by Lucic. Campbell fresh off the bench, able to get to open space, and then wisely hangs on to it. Scandella goes down. Scandella goes down and try to take away that pass. He lays out, but it's just not the right time. And Griffith explodes up the ice off that far post. Second goal, similar fashion, net drive. Earlier in the shift, he had a chance to make a play to get it out. You live with those mistakes in young players, and then you're rewarded on the skill set in the offensive end.
So the Bruins have the lead for the first time tonight. Vanek looking for Scandella. Scandella turns and fires just wide of the post. Rask has to make a recovery as Niederreiter was ready to tuck home the bounce. Paille plays the body. Brodziak takes the puck for Minnesota. Quick re-entry. Brodziak drops it off. Dumba's blast fells Krug. He is mighty sore after that one. Fox drive. Off a body and off the boards, and Soderberg brings it into the attacking zone. Gagne rips it around. Soderberg. Trotman's wrist shot. Glove stopped. Nicklas Backstrom. 13:34 to go, second period. Seth Griffith has his second and third. Little Superman action. 2-1 Boston.
The lead 2-1. Seth Griffith, second of the night. This is an area of the ice that young players need to learn the importance of. When the puck comes up the wall, especially when you've been in your own zone for about 20 seconds, this puck has to get out one way or the other. Not able to clear the zone, but you get the benefit of the break because Minnesota's going to make a line change. That opens up a lot of space for that defenseman to make that pass. Trotman's able to zip it up. Lucic's able to go indirect off the wall. That quick out, easy out because of the line change. You use the far side of the ice. And a couple of really good passes. Lucic to Campbell, Campbell to Griffith. So you take a little of the bad with the real good.
Boston goal scorer number 50.
Soderberg battling on the end boards. Fontaine can't control the puck as Kelly approaches from behind. Eriksson gets stick position. Kelly wraps it through the corner. Bartkowski picks it up. Eriksson near side. Bartkowski off the glass. And that's going to be icing against Boston. Billy, what do you got?
Well, during that whole TV timeout, Torrey Krug, who took that big shot to the leg, I think it was more the foot area, he was grimacing. He was talking with Donnie Del Negro, the Bruins trainer, the whole time there. Took the gloves off, did a lot of things. He was in a lot of real distinct pain, but he just put his gloves back on. I think gave the little head nod saying, I'm going to be all right. He'll give it a go.
Trotman with some big strides to beat Parisi to the corner. But Pominville keeps it in. It's a double deflection. Parisi getting the last touch on it, trickling wide of the post. Parisi back to Suter, the wrist shot through the slot. Nobody home. Spurgeon back to Parisi in rotation. Can't control the bouncing puck. Played with a high stick. And then again by Minnesota, and the faceoff's going to be near the Boston line.
That's always anxious for a player when you're an offensive guy and you're only a couple feet inside the offensive blue line and you're almost the last line of defense and you're trying to settle the puck down and you know the pressure's coming. So a good whistle really for the Wild.
Koivu and Bergeron on the faceoff at the center dot. Bergeron bunts it past Smith. Jared Spurgeon. Now Zucker takes the Koivu feed. Spurgeon jumps up on the rush. Zucker's driving a leg save by Rask. Tuukka Rask has made several movement saves tonight that have been hugely clutch. Here's Bergeron trying to turn it into a sequence. Koivu wrists it out of danger. Zucker rushing the left wing again. Koivu slap pass. Suter turns the stick. Backhands it on Rask. Makes the stick stop. Koivu turns high middle of the line. Off Prosser skates. The Bruins might get numbers. End of a long shift, though. Marchand elects just to throw it in.
Yeah, the Bruins, that line, the Bergeron line, try to possess the puck deep in the offensive zone. A tight triangle. They don't connect. Now numbers for Minnesota. Minnesota get another rush against that line with numbers. Suter, though, took that pass on the backhand and couldn't really position himself.
Hamilton to Krejci with speed on Scandella's side. The self-pass off the end boards. Krejci the diagonal. Hamilton turns the stick, wrists it to the near boards and hits the dasher, and Frisbee's out. And Hamilton will track it down again. North and south off Griffith's skate. Vanek takes it. Vanek's shot off of Seidenberg, and Rask makes a nifty stop on a hopping puck with Niederreiter close by again. For his trivia question of the day, who is the Bruins' active leader in goals against the Wild? Visit NESN.com/the4s for the answer and enter to win a $50 gift certificate that can be used at Fours Restaurant and Sports Bar in Boston, Quincy, or Norwell.
The Wild are in the Western Conference, correct?
Yeah. It's only the 15th time these two franchises have met.
Unless you're new to the Bruins.
may have played them a lot if you were in the West. Rask with a couple more saves. Falk getting off the drive after Dumba did, and Dumba's was from outside. Justin Falk, 6 feet 5 inches tall, but he has been flat to the ice a couple of times tonight, courtesy of Milan Lucic checks. Paille, the puck rolls. Brodziak to Pominville off the tip of the glove of Tuukka Rask. Rask has made pretty close to half a dozen 1-inch saves tonight, where it has been that close. Paille wraps it cross ice for Gagne. He closes off Falk's stick. Campbell angles to the corner and wins the puck. Falk tries to staple him in. Campbell to the circle. Granlund to Pominville. Center circle. Parise. Dumba to Parise. Seidenberg out muscles Parise down the slot. The upper body strength obvious, but the strong base on his skates all important so he could do that. Seidenberg, the hard backhand, but it comes right out to the point to Suter. He sprays it wide. Spurgeon battling against Griffith. Krejci out to the neutral zone. Carter coming across the ice. Carter's a banger. Lucic wins it from Suter down low. Lucic hits the brakes from his knees, gets it through to Griffith. Still tangled up with Suter. Griffith into the pile, and the puck squirts across the front of the goal. Spurgeon chops for Fontaine. Cook trying to drag it along. Griffith takes it away. Trotman through the seam with some steam. Spurgeon out to the neutral zone. Fontaine to Carter. Finds a little space diagonally. Spins it in. Rask stops the puck for Barkowski. Gives it up to Scandella. Fires it in front. Krejci with the dive to take it off Fontaine's stick with the side of the goal open.
Yeah, Barkowski needs to make a better decision with that puck. Rask looked everybody off, left him the puck. He wouldn't leave him the puck if there was any pressure on his backside. He just wrapped it around the boards, right back to the Wild.
Krug, Barkowski, Soderberg scales it cross ice. Dumba back of his own goal. Up to the dot. Koivu pries it out. Coyle runs into Krug. Krug stops Coyle. Dumba into the legs of a couple of players. Minnesota having trouble getting stuff going through the neutral zone as the Bruins are slowing the attack out of the Minnesota end. Coyle with the steal and a save by Rask. Tuukka Rask coming up huge. Krug, tough shift here. Coyle again. Too many layers. McQuaid, Marchand taking it away. Riley Smith over the line. The wrist shot off Brodziak's stick. Falk back of his own goal. Clubs it around. Brodziak skates the wing with Niederreiter on his left. Niederreiter and Seidenberg. Seidenberg tries to one-hand it up the boards. Can't do it. Smith knocks the puck through the neutral zone. Spurgeon on the turn. North and south off Vanek's forehand. Seidenberg turns and sees Vanek in his face. Gives it up to Spurgeon. Double deflection in front. Niederreiter on the backup tip. Paille races up ice. Tries to cut inside Suter on the poke check. Sweeps it right to Gagne. Gagne steps around, throws it on Backstrom, who holds the short side post. Hamilton has the puck tumble over his stick. Vanek, Niederreiter. Close 2-on-1. Vanek tries to saucer it over. Krug can't get it over his legs. Hits the post from no angle. Claims it was in. Of course, they will look at it. Spurgeon tries to step inside right at the post. Niederreiter. Spurgeon with a golden chance. Too many bodies.
Bruins are spent right now. This line's been out there quite a while.
Granlund wheeling, but unable to get it. Here's Suter. Cracks it through a couple of sticks. Feathers it back for Parise. Krug and Gronlund to the corner. Krug takes the hit to move the puck to Hamilton. Snaps it around looking for Lucic. Prosser in front. Parisi's tip just past the post. Minnesota really going to work against the Bruins in Boston's end of the ice. Rask with a blocker stop. Hamilton can't clear. Prosser's wrist shot goes off of Gronlund. And this one finally flips into the protective netting with 5:48 to go. 30-second break. Rick is back with Seth Griffiths first of the night. And no, Mr. Vanek, it wasn't in, was it?
The exciting rewind is brought to you by Berkshire Bank, where no two customers are alike. We're going to get 3 looks at the tying goal late in the first period. From the rookie Seth Griffith playing on the line, right side with David Krejci. It all starts with body contact in the offensive zone by Milan Lucic. The quick counterattack, the net drive, not only by Lucic to open up a passing seam to Seth Griffith, who also had a net drive off that far post. But a number of things to take a look at. Lucic, we talked about the Bruins needing to pick up the pace of the game, find their skating game. It's a good example on the forecheck, and then a nice job by both he and Krejci to A, stay on side. Krejci wisely takes ice, fans out towards the board side. Lucic stays on side. And from this angle, you can see where that passing lane opens up, the timing of it behind Lucic to Seth Griffith, who was able to get separation from the back check of Matt Cook. Good effort by that threesome. Trotman able to make the play in the neutral zone, tying goal.
Vote for your favorite exciting rewind and enter the mortgage sweepstakes. Each month, Berkshire will give away great prizes, and at the end of the season, one winner will have their mortgage paid for a year. Go to NESN.com/Berkshire Bank for details. Life is exciting. Let Berkshire Bank help. Now, before they resume play, they're going to make darn sure that this puck did not cross the line.
You just got the sense, Jack, that the Bruins were playing, like on some borrowed time with some unforced turnovers. We get a look at where this puck goes behind Rask off that far post. Nothing across the goal line there. Certainly nothing conclusive that that puck ever went in the net. But the Bruins were just, loose in coverage, getting beat up the ice a little too frequently, not managing the puck well enough. A 2-1 lead, home ice, second period, a team that played last night. They need to sharpen up.
Here's Wes McCauley.
After reviewing the play, the puck never crossed the goal line. We have no goal.
Not sure the crowd was aware that they were looking at the Vanek centering attempt, but that's the official explanation. Thomas Vanek still looking for his first goal as a member of the Minnesota Wild. Another $20 million committed. McQuaid, the backhand tap to Torrey Krug. Saucer pass to Soderberg. Flips it ahead. Eriksson knocks it down. Krejci pulls up, wrists it around. The Bruins will change out. Chris Kelly jumps over the board. Soderberg pries himself some space down in the corner. Coyle can't clear the zone. Dumba trickles it through Soderberg. McQuaid sounds like a roulette wheel going through the corner. Dumba gets his stick stuck in the Zamboni door. Can the Bruins take advantage? The period of the long change. Dumba has his stick back. Soderberg wheels. It goes off Eriksson's skate and wide of the post. Soderberg, the backhand pass. Eriksson knocks it down. Koivu picks up the puck, wrists it off glass. Zucker on the big hit against McQuaid, who keeps the puck in the attacking zone. Finally, Minnesota wrestles it out to center. Torrey Krug. Chris Kelly ladles it down into the corner. Bergeron with a couple of quick strides. Scandella shields the puck from Bergeron. Dumba gives it away indirect off the boards to Marchand. Bergeron. Scandella pokes the puck away. Brodziak's going to go as he reached around Riley Smith. 4:35 to go, second period. Boston on the power play when the game resumes.
Well, after a strong shift by the Soderberg line, the Bergeron line follows up with some pretty good pressure in the offensive zone, creating some turnovers. Trying to get to a loose puck. Graziak from behind on Riley Smith, able to draw the penalty. Bruins with a real nice opportunity to extend their lead to 2 late in the second period with the man advantage.
Bergeron, Soderberg, Eriksson, Smith, and Hamilton. Bergeron wins the faceoff to begin the power play. Soderberg around through both corners. Eriksson to Hamilton. Draws Ryan Carter. Riley Smith with a little room off Matt Cook's stick up into the protected netting behind Nicklas Backstrom.
Yeah, just a little drag to that decision right there by Riley Smith. He was a little unsure initially where he wanted to go with this puck and allowed Minnesota to get a good stick position. Nice play by Dougie Hamilton at that right point. Poise. Little pump fake pass. That opens up the passing lane across. But then just that little hesitation by Smith, and it allows the penalty killers for the Wild to make a good play.
Hamilton's wrist shot, trying to pick the top corner, and he sails it off the end glass. Dougie Hamilton sprints off the boards, goes through the legs of Cook. Soderberg holds it away from Suter. Angles in, takes the hit, gets the puck stuck in the referee's skates for a moment, but recovers it. Hamilton to Soderberg on the half boards, has Eriksson low. Eriksson has Bergeron in the slot. Soderberg off of the skate, and it goes wide. Minnesota finally clears after about 3/4 of a minute of Boston zone time. David Krejci has Marchand on his left, Griffith on the right. Marchand into the zone to Lucic. Lucic cross ice for Griffith, bouncing puck. Carter whacks it off the high glass in the corner. Marchand right after him. Scandella into Marchand's stick, but he muscles it through. And the Wild clear. Marchand over the spoke B. Griffith, the give and go to Marchand. Griffith driving the net as Krug moves the puck to Krejci. Now Griffith on the near side, top of the circle, feathers it. Krug to Lucic, he scores! Torrey Krug hit the tape, and Lucic hits the back of the net. 3-1 Boston on a power play goal.
Pinpoint passing, good decisions, and a net front presence. Once the Bruins gain entry into the offensive zone, and there was a nice play, an exchange between Marchand and Griffith, and then it's Griffith with the seam pass, and that little pump fake as if you're going to shoot that puck. Torrey Krug, he's able to sell the wrist shot, and he finds Milan Lucic uncovered right at the top of the crease. All he has to do is redirect into the wide side, but a number of good pass plays, a number of good decisions, and it starts with gaining entry into the offensive zone. Well executed by that unit.
Spurgeon, high slot, Parisi, Granlund. Spurgeon's wrist shot saved by Rask. Quietly, Rask is having an excellent night. Billy.
Absolutely, Jack, and he's been great at finding pucks through traffic. Had the opportunity, speaking with head coach Claude Julien this morning, specifically about Milan Lucic in front of the net on the power play. Happy about the way that he did early on. Yes, he's got some work to do, but he says, you know, it's his body positioning and his footwork. And there is just a great little example, as Brick said, net front presence. He just waited, opened up at that last second, made himself available for that nice redirection.
Boston power play goal scored by number
Bergeron and Smith 2-on-2 against Spurgeon and Suter. Smith, the self pass to the corner, picks it up. Spurgeon on his back, but Smith digs it loose against the apron. Bergeron stabs the puck to keep it alive. Spurgeon backhands it to the corner. Kelly to Hamilton. Hamilton moves it around the boards. Smith on the backhand off Suter's leg. Kelly tries to send it deep. Seidenberg drives it off of Pominville's stick. Hamilton stops the puck in the neutral zone. The Bruins will change out on his flip. Soderberg and Marchand, the two front forwards. The pass all the way to Coyle at the attacking line. Koivu. Krug angles him off. Vanek trickles it back to Scandella. He hacks it down through the corner. Coyle absorbs the Krug hit, spins off it, tries to back in. Koivu out of the corner. Prosser's drive goes through the flying Vanek. Scandella whacks it around. Koivu on the turn. He ran out of room and ran himself into the end boards. McQuaid. Krug. A wicked elbow from Koivu behind the play. Krug taking the brunt of it, but hopping right back up on his skates.
One less set of eyes on the ice as far as the officiating.
Man, and that was taking advantage, but it should be pointed out that the NHL examines it all on video, whether or not it's seen on the ice.
Well, there's a number of one-on-one battles going on deep in the zone. Just a follow through with the elbow up a little bit high. Makes initial contact with the shoulder and almost looked like Torrey wanted to sell that a little bit.
Yeah, he sold me. He sold me. All right, that was a fair hit. That was a fair hit.
Looks like Boston wants to use their timeout right here, doesn't it?
Tuukka Rask has made some small movements to make some big saves.
Well, we highlighted him in the game in Toronto. Even though it was a complete team victory, that 4-1 win, he made such key saves at critical times in sequences that actually led to Boston goals. And he's been just like that again tonight. A number of stops. He got Pominville once or twice, maybe even 3 times. Great left pad save on the drive by Parise. This one against Charlie Coyle after the turnover. Bad turnover by Boston at a critical juncture in the hockey game. Probably his best and most important, but Billy just pointed out his ability to track puck through traffic. Focus. It's a perfect word for Tuukka Rask right now. Saw it in Toronto. We're seeing it again tonight.
Yep. Gave himself the tune-up. Understanding completely the situation. That he is probably going to see a little bit more rubber than he normally does because Zdeno Chara is on the shelf for a while. Soderberg wins the faceoff from Granlund. McQuaid indirect off Eriksson skates. He finds Marchand in the seam. The shot saved Backstrom. Long rebound, but right to Spurgeon. Granlund with a clever flip to get it ahead to Pominville. Final minute of the second period. The Bruins have jumped out to a 3-1 lead. Suter. Spurgeon to Pominville. Seidenberg around through the corner. Griffith, who has a pair tonight. Krejci makes the sure pass, gets it back from Lucic, flips onto Griffith. The hot hand tries to feather it in front. Griffith to Krejci. The shot saved by Backstrom on the left leg next to the post.
Well, Seth Griffith, you know, he's learning lessons at the NHL level, the hard parts of the game, the board work, the one-on-one battles. But when you give him open space and you give him a little bit of time and you let him be creative and you're playing with a David Krejci and a Milan Lucic, you're going to see some pretty impressive things. A pair of goals tonight. The assist on the power play is 3 points. And he had a pretty good opportunity there. Just didn't want to have a meaningless shot. He thought he could make another play, be a little bit more creative. Just got denied that short side.
Scandella on the end boards. Bergeron pops the puck over to Krejci. Approaching the last 10 seconds of the period. Krug saves it on the line. Bergeron to Krejci behind the back. Finds the puck. 2 seconds to go. He's going to run out of time. And the Bruins will take a 2-goal lead to the room after 40 minutes.
Some sloppy moments in that period where Rask had to make a number of saves. The Bruins had some unforced turnovers. They got beat a little bit coming up the ice on the back check. But they do enough to keep just 1 goal on the board to the Minnesota Wild. And your power play can be such a weapon. You get the lead to 2-1, but you're still not getting the separation you're looking for, Jack. And then your power play steps up.
Key play brought to you by your New England Audi dealers. Quite a night for Seth Griffith. The rookie has 2 goals and an assist. Going to the post and then going to the post again. Little Superman action. Can't wait to see the still photos of that one. and he has powered the Bruins to a 3-1 lead over the Minnesota Wild. Alongside Andy Brickley with Billy Jaffe between the benches and Darren Austin also at ice level with our NESN production crew. I'm Jack Edwards. Moments ago, Brick had a chance to chat with Bruins assistant coach Joe Sacco.
Joe, you got a 3-1 lead. Do you feel like you've been the better team through 40 minutes?
I think at times. I think after we made it 2-1 in the second period there, they made a pretty good push at us, and we kind of weathered the storm a little bit before we got that third one on the power play. So, you know, first period was a pretty strong period, I thought, as well. We just have to make sure against this team in the third period that we do a good job of defending their rush, because their D are up in the play all night.
Seth Griffith's getting a real good opportunity playing alongside David Krejci and Milan Lucic. 3 points tonight, a pair of goals. What do you like best about his game?
Well, I like the fact that he goes to the net hard for you know, a guy that's not that big in stature. So he's not afraid. He gets into the hard areas to score goals, and he's got good instincts. He makes good plays, and he seems to be a good fit right now with those two guys. So hopefully it's something that will continue.
20 minutes away to put this one away. Good luck in the third period.
Thanks, Brick.
Seth Griffith, 21 years old, number 131 in the entry draft in 2012, a 5th-round draft choice. A game summary brought to you by your New England Chevy dealers. Well, Minnesota is in an unaccustomed position. Even last night it looked pretty good for the Wild. Up 3-0 against the Rangers in Manhattan. And the Rangers exploded for 5 third-period goals and went right on by 5-4 the final there. So you can be sure that Minnesota will bring a concerted effort here, not wanting to get 0 points out of back-to-back games against the supposedly weaker Eastern Conference. Adam McQuaid's pass into Koivu's stick. Zucker out of the corner. Koivu, low angle. Throws it right through the goal mouth and only missed the post by about 8 inches. Soderberg gathers it in, takes the hit, the short backhand. Now McQuaid sends it through the legs all the way to Kelly far side. Koivu intercepts to Spurgeon. He jams. Rask makes a couple of saves loose on the doorstep, and the lone referee, Wes McCauley, blows the whistle.
Yeah, hard to track that puck, but it sure looked like it was still loose. Not much complaint from Minnesota. Maybe they felt the puck was out of sight as well, but the Bruins getting beat with some pretty good forecheck by the Wild. Aggressive two-man, good stick position, a number of steals. Short side chance for Spurgeon. So pretty good pressure to start the period.
Mikko Koivu providing some leadership by example. Here's Marchand on the swim. Dumba barely gets a piece of the puck at the last moment.
Yeah, Marchand's going to go, Jack.
Yep. The reaction. And the Bruins will be shorthanded.
Well, Marchand with good speed through the neutral zone.
63 Boston minor penalty holding.
Has that one-on-one with Dumba. And he goes that inside-outside step around, pick up the puck through the skates. And then he tries to stop on this puck when he doesn't get the separation. There's that free left hand, the grab of the left shoulder. He'll go to the box. Bruins had a real important power play goal by Milan Lucic in period number 2. Minnesota looking for one here to start the third.
Suter's shot. Pominville's drive, and Rask quickly getting square to the Pominville shot. Granlund on the far side. Minnesota without a power play goal all season so far. Pominville's blast, and again Rask, an aggressive move off his line to break down the angle. Granlund feathers the pass. Pominville on the extension catches it on the backhand. He and Vanek, well, Sabres fans are weeping. Suter pulls it off the boards. Pominville. Granlund. Suter. Seidenberg in a pretty good wrestling match with Vanek. Granlund to Suter. The wrist shot saved by Rask, and the rebound ricochets past Parise. Parise in the corner. Granlund around the perimeter. Suter. The puck hops over Granlund's blade. Parisi to Gronlund to Suter. The wrist shot into the pile with Vanek having too many layers behind him, and the Bruins get it clear.
And Vanek just barking at the official, saying, I'm getting abused here in the slot. You're not supposed to be able to do that anymore.
Let me introduce you to a guy named Tim Kerr. Here's Koivu, who had an excellent first shift to set the tone for Minnesota.
And again, Jack Rask able to track pucks from point shots through that traffic going on in front of him.
Dumba flips the backhand to Coyle. Coyle takes the give-and-go pass from Spurgeon and gets his hat knocked off as McQuaid went in heavy. Final 10 seconds of Marchand's penalty.
And the Wild did get 2 quick shots that there were no traffic. Spurgeon had one, Pominville had the other.
Spurgeon. Dumba fires it off the corner boards. And Minnesota goes to 0 for 26 on the man advantage this season. Fontaine to the slot. Glove save, Rask. You can't see the expression behind that mask, but Tuukka Rask is projecting ultimate confidence right now.
Yeah, Steinberg and Hamilton, too, working the front of the net. I mean, Vanek's just kind of going down a little bit on his own, and the second one's a good little push. I mean, that's an area of the ice you really got to earn. If you get knocked out for your troubles once or twice, it's just the way it is. You see Rask able to handle that shot. Vanek's still there. Again, Rask doing a nice job of tracking what's going on, where the puck is, where the shots are coming from. Aggressive when you can, outside the paint, stay deep if you need to get a good long look at it. But the defense in front of him, allowing him, for the majority of the time, to see where those shots are coming from. Good physical play.
Brodziak over the line. Bartkowski tries to force him corner, gets leverage and flips him. Fontaine coming out from behind the goal. Trotman blocks the centering pass. Cook shields from Krejci. Cook turns to the backhand. Fontaine indirect to Scandella along the line. Dumba. Lucic throws him off balance, but Dumba gets it low. The feed next to the post. The shot, Dumba, and Rask again coming off his line. Lucic racing against Dumba. Dumba reaches to get it to Scandella, to Brodziak. Tremendous effort in the early going by the Wild. Scandella to Brodziak below the dot. Draws Trotman. Scandella's drive goes off. Cook in front, bouncing puck. Rask finds it as Pominville tried to flip the bouncer past him.
Guys, from down here, just to finish up, you're talking about Thomas Vanek taking the abuse that he was in front of the net. When he came off the ice there, he slammed the door twice, yelling at referee Wes McCauley. Perhaps some frustration that he has yet to score in a Minnesota Wild uniform, despite going back home. It's his adopted hometown. As his wife is from there, met her at college, and yet he has done that big contract in the offseason, hasn't had a goal yet, and at times doesn't look to be in sync with some of his teammates.
Spurgeon's drive. Kelly in his face. Of course, when Vanek was with the Sabres, we used to joke that he was about to score his nightly goal against the Bruins. Gronlund wheels it middle, and Parisi tips it home. Zach Parisi cuts it to 1. 4.5 minutes into the third, and the Bruins had better find the accelerator because they are standing still and Minnesota's moving forward.
Yeah, and this is vintage Parise. This is where he earns his money. Real good forechecker, that low center of gravity, that will to win, the will to compete, his ability to get inside position, his tenacity, all on display. Battle, one-on-ones, pursue the puck, get to the front of the net, get inside position with stick position. You can't relax when you're covering Zach Parise. He's going to beat you. A little spin move, Gronlund able to make that play right to the top of the crease, and then the redirect by Parise.
So the Bergeron line tries to turn the tide for the Bruins. Rask chips the puck around through the corner. Charlie Coyle back down there. Zucker unable to beat Bergeron to the puck. Krug to McQuaid. Under Bergeron's backhand, and Minnesota takes possession back. Ryan Suter goes D-to-D to Jared Spurgeon right over the center dot. Coyle missed stick handles. McQuaid pokes it back to Spurgeon at center.
And Jared Spurgeon scored 21.
Suter snaps it, bounces up on the glass. Campbell tracking it down to keep the puck out of the middle. Marchand, the stick check on Zucker. Coyle out of the corner, brings it back. Scandella's shot, Koivu on the tip. Zucker shielding the puck, brings it back to Scandella. The shot, Rask finding it with the blocker and covering up. This is not a power play, but Minnesota seems as if it has a man advantage right now.
Yeah, the Bruins have already used their timeout, so you can't use it now to kind of, get your team's attention and regroup and send a real clear, loud message on the bench in a 30-second timeout. So you got to hope that one of these lines and unit of 5 comes out and gets a little something going in the offensive direction, because Minnesota started the third period with a real strong shift, 2 shifts, then the bad penalty by Marchand. So now you're in the offensive zone for a couple of more minutes, even though you don't score the man advantage. You're still keeping pressure on Boston. You have another follow-up 5-on-5, and Parise gives you the goal. And you're almost in control of what's going on right now, even though you're down 1 on the board.
Well, the captain for Minnesota had a tremendous opening shift in the third period, really set the tone for his team. Brodziak and Krejci after the icing. Griffith riding a 3-point night, spoons it down into the corner. Spurgeon and Lucic. Lucic across to Krejci. Krejci to Lucic. Unopposed back of the goal. Tries to stuff it next to the post. Does. Krejci dangles. And a stick stop from Spurgeon to keep David Krejci from putting Boston back up by 2. Jared Spurgeon with a huge play in this game. Trotman's shot goes right into the gut of Nicholas Backstrom.
Well, it all starts in the neutral zone with that little chip down the wall by Griffith that allows Lucic to get in there first. And now the Bruins have a little something going on the offensive end. It's a heads-up play. Dump and chase. Puck possession support. Transfer the puck. Use the back of the net. Get to the front of the net. Win some battles. And Krejci was just trying to outweight the defense as well as the goaltender Backstrom and take that puck over by that far post and then go top shelf. But just enough layers defensively for the Wild.
Trotman, the slap pass into Paille's skates. Paille flips it into Nate Prosser. Trotman back into the attacking zone. Falk up ahead off Cook's stick. Paille dumps it back off the boards. Justin Falk wires it in. The puck's up in the pads of Trotman. Finally it tumbles out. Fontaine. Cook bunts it back to Falk. The wrist shot, double deflection. Saved by Rask. The rebound next to the post. They score! Justin Fontaine! And turnabout is fair play. Last night, Minnesota up by 3 going into the third, only to lose. And Boston tonight up by 2 going into the third. And it is tied with 13.5 minutes left.
Well, this is the sense that we were talking about. Control of the hockey game. We said even though they were down by a goal, the Wild was in control here in the third period. The tenacity again. The ability to find loose pucks. The Bruins' inability to box people out and control that puck. And Fontaine is right where he needs to be, attacking the net, finds that loose puck, shovels that puck underneath everybody. And the Bruins unable to manage that puck. You might say, well, a little unlucky. That puck is kind of into the body of Trotman, but even still, they had opportunities to make plays. Not making enough right now.
Smith going to the corner against Granlund. Granlund fights through it and then fires it out to Pominville. And here comes Parise. Rask nudges the puck to Hamilton. Can't go up the boards. Granlund digging it loose. Hamilton flicks it to the line. Suter's shot into the pile off Smith's legs. Past the dot. Bergeron turns and flips the backhand ahead. Spurgeon wins the race. It's icing.
Catching all new Instigators Thursday night following NESN Sports Today. Choose your side for the debate of the latest NHL headlines and other hot topics from around the league. The gloves come off Thursday on the Instigators, presented by the Electric Supply Center, driven to help you compete.
Bergeron wins the draw against Coyle. Seidenberg up the kick plate to Marchand. Bounces it right into the glove of Dumba. Marco Scandella's pass. Soderberg intercepts. Dumba hustles to keep it in.
Assisted by
Proof with Zucker coming. Hamilton finds Soderberg. Indirect. Does not connect with Eriksson. Dumba and Eriksson in the corner. Eriksson to Soderberg, the shot. And he almost caught Backstrom pulling the skate off the post. McQuaid hustles back. Turns away from Zucker. Brings it to Eriksson. Falk. Prosser. Koivu. Chips the saucer pass over to Falk. Falk's long shot along the ice, and Rask gloves it. 11:52 to go in the game. The Bruins were up 2 coming into this period. They got a battle on their hands now. I'll tell you one thing, the Bruins better show up, because zone time in the third period, 4:43 for Minnesota, 1:47 for Boston. Vanek in front, Brodziak shot saved by Rask. Minnesota's winning puck battles. It's moving the puck smarter and better.
Yeah, that's just Vanek schooling a young player in Seth Griffith on how to protect the puck, leverage, and then getting a shot in the direction of the goal. I mean, it's simple fundamentals that the Wild are getting the better of, as you just pointed out, Jack, here this entire third period.
Krejci and Brodziak. Brodziak ties him up to win the draw. Spurgeon's blast blocker saved by Rask. Griffith indirect off the end boards to Hamilton. Now it's Seidenberg on the turn. Scoops it out looking for Krejci, but Spurgeon gloves it down in the neutral zone. It's ruled a hand pass.
Well, tomorrow on NESN Live, Al and Sarah will take a look at the Red Sox offseason needs and then preview the Bruins matchup in Buffalo. Get the inside story on NESN Live, presented by Cross Insurance. Weekday evenings at 5:30.
Campbell and Carter on the face-off at the center dot. Carter had an assist on Fontaine's game-tying goal just a few minutes ago. Seidenberg wins the race, and it's icing against the Wild.
And that last shift, guys, Seidenberg, and still this one out there with Trotman. So Matt Markowski sitting on the benches. Claude Julien plays the match game a little bit more, and Krejci's line comes out after that real quick shift by the Campbell line with the offensive zone face-off.
Lucic in the shooter's position. Carter gets tossed out of the draw. No, he doesn't, because of the new rule. Krejci wins it. Lucic nudges to Trotman. The shot just wide of the stick side post. Seidenberg. Trotman tries again. The rebound knocked down. Lucic slides it just past. Griffith doing a marvelous job of the screen on Trotman's second bid. Prosser nudges the puck back of the goal. Falk doesn't get anything on it. Krejci finds Trotman. He walks into it. The drive goes off of Prosser, up and out of play.
Yeah, there's something going on here. I don't know if there's going to be a penalty on Boston or what they're doing.
Yeah, Griffith is headed to the box.
Griffith was right at the top of the crease trying to get in front of the goaltender Backstrom when this puck was delivered by Krejci out of the corner to Trotman.
53, Boston has a minor penalty for goalie interference. 32, Minnesota has a minor penalty embellishment.
Okay, so goaltender interference and a dive. Is this what's being called? Or embellishment?
Well, we saw Falk come in on that replay and make body contact with Griffith, which in turn made contact with Backstrom. Not sure that's worthy of a goaltender interference call. And when Trotman tried to tee it up, it was a pretty good shot block by the Wild in order to get that puck up over the glass. There's the walk in right there and the deflected shot. There's your goaltender interference. Backstrom's certainly going to help that along. I might put that in the incidental contact category, Jack, but the even up call going on Fontaine, I don't know if you saw it in the replay, out away from the puck is where his infraction occurred.
Bergeron kicking away. Parise swipes it all the way down to Rask's end of the ice. Dougie Hamilton, now Dennis Seidenberg. Hamilton goes through the seam. Marchand back to Seidenberg. The long saucer pass. Parise almost approaches it. Marchand steals from Suter. Gives to Bergeron. He closes off Suter's stick across the middle. Bergeron takes Hamilton's feed. Hamilton holds Seidenberg, the one-timer, into Parise's legs. And Mikael Granlund will turn it up ice for Minnesota.
Yeah, I was searching for what the penalty was on Fontaine. Apparently it was the sell job by Backstrom. It was the matching penalty, and he's just serving it.
Yep. Soderberg steps into the Minnesota zone, tries the shift on Scandella. Off the boards, Krug wrists it back around. Louis Eriksson. Eriksson looking for an opening. Can't get much on it. McQuaid hammers the puck off the end boards. Soderberg turns and fires off the heel of his stick. Scandella squirts it to Koivu. Long ahead. Pominville's offside. 45 seconds to go in the 4-on-4. 9:42 remaining in the game. 2 unanswered goals by the Wild have tied it in the third.
Thursday night at 6:30, catch up with Dale and Billy when WB Mason presents Bruins Face Off Live. He'll preview the game against the Sabres as the Bruins head back to Buffalo for the second time in 12 days. And they'll give you the story behind all the latest NHL headlines. Get ready for the game with us Thursday at 6:30.
Our colleague and friend Bob Beers, who grew up in Western New York, looked at the schedule and said, I can't believe it. We're going to go to Buffalo twice and twice only this season, and I won't even have to bring an overcoat. Krug rolls it to McQuaid. Pominville pressing now. Here comes Koivu on Krug, but Koivu blows the tire. McQuaid hard across to Lucic. Lucic wheeling away from Dumba, makes the pass around Pominville, blows up the ice. Lucic cross ice. Krejci curls back, wrists it across. Koivu knocks it into Dumba. Dumba gives back to Scandella.
The idea was good by Lucic, but he fired the puck a little too hard. Just needed to lay it in the area. Allow Krejci to skate in.
Trotman knocks the puck to the boards in the neutral zone. Final seconds of the 4-on-4. 2 men come out of the box. Griffith and Fontaine join the fray. Krejci kicks it out of the pile. Loops the backhand to the corner to Griffith. Griffith taps to Marchand. Marchand brings it back. Trotman into Marchand's body. Griffith stays with it. Bergeron knocks the puck loose, but Granlund settles it. Now it's Parise. Cross corner. Seidenberg back to retrieve as Minnesota gets fresh legs on the ice with 8.5 to go. Seidenberg up high on Suter. Kyle Brodziak. Smith harasses him from behind. Krug takes possession back for Boston. Krug up to the Boston line. Marchand tries to go wing to wing. Brodziak picks it off in the seam. Krug shields from Brodziak. Vanek right into the middle for Niederreiter, but he can't control him by his skates. Spurgeon in the corner. Vanek throws it right toward the front. McQuaid to the boards, but not out. Brodziak to Vanek. He bounces it across the ice. Smith can't get the puck to sit flat. Suter wrists it off the dasher. It tumbles to the far side. Krug finds Marchand. The Bruins in a tough spot with zone time. Half a dozen times already in the third period, Minnesota has had entries of 25 seconds or more. That's a lot of time.
Yeah, time to start making more plays coming out of your own zone if you're Boston.
Cook in the corner, fires it right on Rask. Soderberg flips the puck ahead. Nate Prosser back after it. D to D. Fault to Carter to Cook. Let's go Bruins, the chant from the crowd. Seidenberg off the boards. Kelly stops on the puck. Hamilton angles past Fontaine. Falk in the corner. Hamilton turns it, stabs the puck loose. Kelly shoves past Cook. Kelly gets caught up high, right in front of referee Wes McCauley. I don't think he saw it. Carter drags the puck over the line, fires it into Rask's gut, and he'll take the face-off for the Boston end.
Kelly does a nice job because Dougie Hamilton's putting the pressure on the forecheck below the goal line, so he has to cover at the right point. He comes down the wall. A loose stick by Falk gets up and catches him under the shield. And look at it right there. Tough break for Boston. No penalty call. Still at even strength. Under 7 minutes to go.
Just about pierced his ear. Krejci wins the face-off from Koivu. Bruins trying to find a rhythm that really hasn't been there for the entire period. McQuaid. Krug. Now Griffith. Krejci on the diagonal. Lucic on the far boards. Lucic gets past Coyle, but Coyle lifts the stick at the last second. Zucker up to the red line. Griffith all the way back to retrieve. Gets bodied off by Zucker. Here's Coyle, tries to pass off the apron. Zucker hammers after it. Coyle brings it back to Scandella. The wrist shot sails over the top. Zucker after it. Minnesota winning all the races to the puck right now. Scandella scores! Marco Scandella, and Minnesota has climbed the mountain from 2 down in the third period to lead 4-3.
40th shot of the night for the Wild, and they've been dominant really here in the third period. Every little aspect of the game turning into big plays. Loose pucks, one-on-one battles, body position, net front presence. And the Bruins unable to withstand the pressure that the Wild has put on. And a good break on the shot that was deflected out high. I believe it's going to go off David Krejci and change direction. And with the traffic in front by the glove hand side of Rask, and the Bruins are down by 1.
Well, it is a mirror image, or as close as one could imagine to it, for the Minnesota Wild, which collapsed in the third last night at Madison Square Garden, and has rebounded with a major display of character in Boston. Seidenberg's shot, and Backstrom makes the save. Shots on goal are 17-7 in favor of Minnesota since the Bruins' last goal. The game report brought to you by your New England Ford dealers. It's a 60-minute game, but it hasn't been a 60-minute full effort for Boston tonight.
You would think with a 3-1 lead after 2 periods on home ice, a team in the Wild that played last night, they suffered an unbelievable loss in the third period when they gave up 5 goals, and you have them down 2 on home ice, and you're supposed to be the rested team. Having a hard time getting my hands or my head around what's happened with this Bruins team and the focus that seems to come and go.
Puck rattles into the screen and never gets through to Backstrom. Consider that Boston went up by 2 goals at any point in a game during the Claude Julien era in regular season games. This is the 255th time that such a scenario has presented itself, that they've been up by 2 at some point in the game. If this score holds, it will be only their 11th regulation loss. Their point percentage went up by 2 at any point in the game under Julien is .931. Soderberg. Hamilton's drive tipped and saved by Backstrom.
Pretty good effort by this line. In on the forecheck. Limiting what Minnesota can do to work this puck out of their own zone. This is good dogged determination. Soderberg, supported by Eriksson. Kelly comes all the way across. Now you outnumber. You win a battle. Use your points. Try to get a shot with a little traffic. Maybe a redirect. The shot by Hamilton. Bruins need a lot more of that here in the final 4.5.
Koivu wins the faceoff against Soderberg. Krug off the heel of his stick. Cook flips the puck to McQuaid's corner. Krug chops it around for Soderberg. Tries twice to pass it through the legs. Can't do it. Cook to Spurgeon. The high drive. Rask wants to dump it out, but there's too much pressure there. 4:12 to go in the game. Last night, disaster struck in a span of 13 minutes and 57 seconds for the Minnesota Wild. That is the amount of time in which they let all those goals in. And tonight, it has come in a span of about 10 minutes, just a little under. That they have scored 3 unanswered third-period goals. Krejci blocks Dumba's shot. Lucic turning Dumba. Dumba gets a stick on Lucic's shot. Dumba flips the puck out in front of himself. Krejci sees it and wedges it against the boards. Lucic tries to shield, but he's 1 against 2. Hamilton's wrist shot floats and bounces off the dasher. Drops down for Koivu. Coyle, who had an assist on the go-ahead goal, muscles it against the board. Krejci tries to knock it loose. Lucic bunts it over to Hamilton. Hamilton to Lucic. Fakes the shot. Gives it to Seidenberg. His blast goes well wide. The Bruins with some zone time here. They need some chances. Lucic's drive knocked down in front as Griffith continues to go to the dirty areas and be effective. Koivu knocks the puck ahead of Zucker. He's pretty tired at the end of a long change, and the faceoff quickly comes back to the Minnesota end.
Oh, huge advantage right now. Be curious to see if Minnesota uses their timeout late in the game. This line's been on the ice for a while, and the Bruins are 2 shifts in a row, maybe even 3 now, where they've had possession in the offensive zone with some opportunities. Seidenberg walks in. He feels he has a lane to the short side. That misses on the short side. Lucic stays out high in that high triangle again with another shot. And no surprise why the Wild will use their timeout.
Hey, and Rick, they're using their timeout. Obviously, they're tired. Mikko Koivu came over here, pleaded with Anthony Saracola, one of the linesmen, Tony Saracola, telling him that he was already off the ice. But both linesmen doing a great job of recognizing who was out there. And so they forced him to come back onto the ice there. And now Mike Yeo obviously diagramming a play right here. The Bruins getting some better puck movement. Got to be impressed with the way that Griffith going to that front of the net area. Not a big guy, but his timing seems to be better. And I think that's just natural as he gets more ice time in general.
If you're joining us late and you're wondering why there's only 1 referee joined by 2 linesmen, referee Dave Lewis late in the first period caught a puck in the corner that ricocheted around and hit him between the lower lip and the chin, and it broke his jaw. So Wes McCauley has been going it alone with Tony Saracola and Michel Cormier, the 2 linesmen. Koivu stretching the timeout by a few more seconds, discovering something wrong with his stick. Zucker flips the puck up to the red line. Trotman takes the hit to knock it deep. Scandella stacks up against Marchand. Let's go Bruins, the chant from the TD Garden crowd. It's icing again. Seidenberg swivels to Smith. Smith against Granlund. Hamilton to Smith. He fires over the top of Marchand. Wins the race to the rebound. Seidenberg. Hamilton. The tap to Smith. Dumba steps up and knocks Smith backward. Coyle up to the red line, and Minnesota finally gets some relief. Seidenberg at a quiet TD Garden. Dougie Hamilton slips it through the seam to Kelly. Over the line to Erickson. Erickson through the corner, past Kelly. Soderberg has Krug at the left point, tries to go along the goal line. Kelly knocking it down. Krug spinning, the wrist shot, knocked down in the pile. Kelly in a battle. Hamilton gives it over to Krug. Soderberg coming out high, the drive and a block from Parisi. Soderberg, the one-hand strong swipe down to Kelly. Erickson with Suter on his back. Erickson angles it back to Krug. Hamilton, Krug in the middle of the line. The wrist shot knocked down in front. Soderberg throws it right through Kelly's legs. Hamilton scrambling. Pominville breaks up ice with Granlund. 2-on-1 against Seidenberg. Granlund's shot whistles wide on the stick side. Can the Bruins turn it into transition? Kelly drops for Krejci. Gains the line. The Boston net empty with a minute and a half to go in the game. The Bruins taking a 2-goal lead into the third period. This puck is loose at the post. Krejci jamming, and McCauley waves no goal.
Big push by the Bruins here in the final 3 minutes of regulation. Down by a goal. After Soderberg jumped on that loose puck, he tried to outweight, trying to make a play. Then Parise made a big play to clear their zone, led to a 2-on-1, and then this last push with the goaltender pulled. Krejci trying to take that puck off the wall, short side, jam it into the crease. Doesn't have to be pretty at this point. Just get it in there and take your chances. Both teams have used their timeouts. Boston still with the net empty.
Bergeron wins the faceoff. Marchand to Hamilton. Bergeron down the boards. Trotman. Bergeron. Hamilton. Up to the attacking line off of Marchand's backhand. We're in the final minute of the game. Spurgeon can't get it around the boards. Marchand, Hamilton. Trotman guns it down into the circle, but it doesn't get all the way to goal. Spurgeon trickles it up the wall. Krejci bats it to the middle. Koivu, with great wrist strength, turns it up the ice. It'll be icing with about 35 seconds to go in the game.
Well, the Wild is just absolutely hanging on right here. They're just getting bodies in the shooting lanes, sticks in the passing lanes, doing just enough as Boston's trying to push. Got no Krug on the ice right now for Boston. He's one of your better weapons in the situation.
Krejci to Hamilton, the puck on edge, the drive into the pile. Spurgeon and Lucic wrestling for it. 25 seconds to go. Brodziak off the boards. Koivu whacks the puck off the boards. The Bruins saying that it went into the Minnesota bench. Hamilton weaves into the attacking zone, but the pass off Coyle. Here's Krejci's shot. Hit the crossbar, I believe, as Backstrom got a piece of it. 6 seconds to go. Hamilton's got to hurry. Bergeron turns, fires off Spurgeon. Seidenberg's drive. Coyle the block. And the Minnesota Wild have the kind of win that makes a team feel good about itself for weeks on end. This could be a major point in their season. For the Bruins, a very, very disappointing loss.
No doubt about it. Great response game by the Wild. Down by 2. Even though they probably weren't, the Bruins probably weren't the better team through 40 minutes. The Bruins with one last opportunity. David Krejci after the steal by Dougie Hamilton in that slot. Backstrom gets a piece of it. It was deflected before Krejci let it go. And then Backstrom probably got a piece of it right up near the crossbar. But this was a game that should not have gotten away from Boston. They should have had their best period in the third period to protect the 2-goal lead. But what a response by the Wild. Dominant in the third period, except for the final push by Boston. They earned these 2 points tonight.
Save of the game brought to you by Digital Federal Credit Union. What can DCU save you? Louis Erickson looking for Carl Soderberg, and bang, bang, it could have been more for Boston. But as he has done so often, Nicholas Backstrom turning the Bruins back. Now 5-0-1 lifetime against Boston. Dale, this building has been a very difficult one for teams to visit in the last few years, but right now the Boston Bruins are 2-4 at TD Garden.
Yeah, and they're not going to be very happy about the third period tonight. Coming up on Ace Ticket, Bruins Overtime Live, a 3-goal third period gives the Wild the win over the Bruins. We'll get Claude Julien's reaction, and we'll preview Thursday's game in Buffalo against the Sabres. Ace Ticket, Bruins Overtime Live coming right up. Tonight on NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank, former Patriot and Super Bowl champ Jermaine Wiggins in studio to break down the Patriots' newest addition on defense. Plus, he'll tell you why it's the Broncos' running game the Patriots need to worry about on Sunday. That and more following post-game coverage on NESN Sports Today.